Caleb Williams spoke with the NFL media today at the NFL Combine on March 1st, 2024, and he hit a lot on the Chicago Bears along with the other teams that he has spoken to and a few things to clear up the air with the media. Overall, it sounds like he would be excited if he came to the Chicago Bears if they select him at the #1 overall pick, and he clearly knows his value. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Today, I am going to go through my biggest takeaways from Caleb Williams' presser today at the NFL Combine. I do not own the rights to any of the videos, so I can't post that up there for you guys, but I will break down some of his biggest quotes, takeaways, and my reaction. And before I begin today's show, if you're excited if the Chicago Bears do select Caleb Williams as their quarterback moving forward and what you want to see at his pro day, make sure to hit the like button on this video along with commenting if you want Caleb Williams or not to join the Chicago Bears. I know it's a pretty divided subject amongst Bears Nation, but I want to see where everyone's gauged at the moment. Just to start things off, Williams is super confident, no doubt about it, and insanely well-spoken. Like, I enjoyed just hearing what this guy had to say because he admits that he doesn't talk to the media a lot, but he cleared a lot of air for reporters, for different types of people, and you got to know a little bit more about him. And he does hit on his height and size, which honestly, I do believe now that he is 6'1.5". I already know some people too don't want to accept him being the Chicago Bears' next quarterback because, we never really gave Justin Fields a fair chance, but it could be a reality. And no matter who the Chicago Bears quarterback is next year, guys, I'm going to be supporting them, and you should too. So let's get into the press conference, and let's kick off with the Bears. So Caleb Williams talked very highly about the Chicago Bears and their potential. He even talked about the team being 7-10 this past season and the turnaround that they had, and along with it having the #1 overall pick. He said there's a lot of exciting things going on, such as, quote, they got a good defense, good players on offense, and it's exciting to go into a situation like that, unquote. He sees this Bears team potential. He sees what this team is doing. He's done his homework. He's met with the Bears. He knows that there is a high possibility he could be going to Chicago. And it's good to see that he's looking on the other side of things. We all know he grew up a Green Bay Packers fan, along with a then at the time Washington Redskins fan, now a Commanders fan. And overall, who cares? You're an NFL athlete. I guarantee you there's guys on the team that were Packers fans growing up that we don't know about. And it's okay. But overall, he does see a lot of potential in this team. He was excited about it. He knows that Chicago's a great city, talked very highly about it, talked about the great city itself, the fan base, everyone as a whole, and how Chicago could be a great home for him and how he wants to be known as an NFL quarterback, not just as in the Chicago Bears. He did talk about a lot about himself, stating, quote, I am my own player. I don't tend to be like the other guys. I tend to create history and rewrite history. I thought that was exciting because he is putting a high potential on himself. And yes, you're trying to sell yourself to teams and make yourself sound good. No doubt about it. But overall, this guy has proven he's won a Heisman. He's thrown over 10,000 yards in 3 seasons in college. He is a very impressive athlete, and he could come in and break records. There's no doubt about it. But I like that he said, I'm not in it for the fame. I'm not in it for the fortune. I'm not in it for anything like that. I just want to go out and play football and make history. He did also talk about this past season at USC, where a lot of people were like, ooh, he didn't do really well against top 25 teams, including myself. There's no doubt about it. The stat is there. A lot of people talked about how he cried in the stands after a loss, and overall just wasn't a look that a lot of people liked. But here's the thing, guys, is that he is a person too, and he expects very much of himself. He said it was not an ideal record this past year at USC. It was very frustrating, actually, and that's why his stats took a slight smidge, but he still put up great stats. And one thing that he told himself is that after every loss, he did huge learning experiences, would sit down with coaches, scouts, anyone across those lines, and how to try to be better. And if you look at USC's team last year, guys, it wasn't like it was 2 years ago when he won the Heisman. You'd got to be able to win with a supporting cast, and he is a good quarterback. He still put up great stats with not nearly as good a supporting cast back in 2022. But he expects a lot of himself. He also said that he expects to go to a team and have them completely turn around. He talked about how when he went from Oklahoma to USC, they went from 4 wins to 9 wins. And I was like, wow, that's a good way to look at it, because he's like, whatever team I go to, I expect them to win 12 wins in the NFL right out of the gate. Well, I would love that. I know you would too. And it's good that he's putting these type of expectations up. and again, he's good that he's learning, taking these learning opportunities, and he's growing as a quarterback. So overall, he said all the right things. Very well spoken. Again, I highly suggest you guys go watch the interview. It's on the NFL's YouTube channel after you're done, obviously, watching this one. He did hit on his size. He says that he's between 6'1" and 6'2", depending on what cleat he's wearing, and 220 pounds. Says he's the same size as Aaron Rodgers, and no doubt about it. I mean, you see pictures of him at the combine. He's a pretty big dude. He's definitely not the size of Bryce Young, which I definitely approve. And then also his number one thing is that he knows he's going to be the number one overall pick. And I thought he was a little confident here. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I liked it. I liked his, I know I've said I liked his confidence. That confidence right there, though, like saying I am the number one overall pick. I don't have a plan B at the moment. And, let's say things go in a different direction. I will figure it out. Things can change. Some guys can blow other people out of the water. There could be some shocking moves in the NFL that Caleb Williams might not go number one. Guys, I know there's a 99.9% chance he goes number one, but there's that 0.01% chance that he doesn't. So who knows what that really is? But again, talked very highly of himself. And then one thing a lot of people are like questioning about is this medical situation, how he's not sharing his medical records with the entire NFL, only teams he's meeting with. I see it. It is a little weird. I thought it was very interesting. But at the same time, like, he wants to make sure he's focusing on teams that are really going to be where he ends up. And he's going to be sharing that information with the Falcons, the Bears, the Commanders, Patriots, all the other teams that are going to be willing to trade up for that number one overall pick. He's definitely going to share that information. And I haven't seen anything that he's been injured or anything along those lines. So I'm not too worried about it. I think that he's just really focused on where he's going to go, and he's investing his time into learning about that team and, wants them to focus on him as well. One thing I don't like is that he's not throwing at the combine. I get it, but like, I remember 10 years ago, everyone went to the combine. It didn't matter who you were, the expectation. I get it. Social media and all these expectations and stuff and money especially have come into play, but go out and be at the combine. Everyone wants to see you out there. You have hundreds of, maybe even thousands of people that want to see you ball. And why not do it in front of all 32 teams? He did say to a reporter, I did not like this comment. He said, quote, I have 30 games on tape. You guys can go and watch that, unquote. Thought it was a little cocky. Wasn't a fan of the comment. Comes off as you're too big for the league. You haven't even taken a snap yet. So didn't like that one. And then on top of it, he was asked about the Commanders and the Patriots, said he really only met with the Patriots for a few minutes with very few people. The Commanders, he said the room was full. There were people standing. They were asking very, very good questions. They were asking a lot about himself. And he said he would be excited to go and play for his hometown team. And there's that very high possibility that Washington does move up. So that's a good selling point for the Chicago Bears if they do decide to trade back that number one overall pick to get a lot more assets and build this team through the draft, which obviously you guys all know I'm on board for. But a very interesting interview overall. I think he's well-spoken. I think he's very confident, which is great in a lot of ways. I think he's too confident in other ways. Something obviously will humble him once he comes to the NFL. Or he could just be, too big for the game. We'll see what happens. But overall, he hit on the Bears for about 2 minutes out of his 15-minute interview. And, all these other comments kind of add up to the general population. He's not going to obviously just sit up there and talk about the Bears. But overall, I thought it was fine. I think he's, again, well-spoken, confident. Would love to see what he does at his pro day. There's still a possibility he could be a Chicago Bear. So we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to bring that to you guys. I ran home to make this video real quick from work. I'm going right back to work after this. So thanks for tuning in. Please shoot this a like and comment your comments below. Share it with a Bears fan if they want to hear about what happened with Caleb Williams today. But overall, one more comment for you guys is that he did ask what it would mean to go to Chicago. He wants to dominate. He wants to break records and make history. So overall, great interview. Like what he had to say. Can't wait to see what he does as his pro day. I know that, media interviews only do so much, but it was good. So thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. As always, guys, great breakdown, great interview as always from Caleb Williams. We'll see what happens. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rody, and as always, bear down, baby.